Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Paul, Sleeping Warrior, Flatzoid, Quantum Eraser, Righteous Force, Chocolate Saying, and I think that's pretty much it in G+. Good to have you all.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning. I've also got a fair few people in Discord, and thanks to Righteous Force, they're all off mute and can actually reply. See how it goes. Hello, people in Discord.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
what's going on, man?
Hello. Any signs
Greetings.
of... we've got to get it, just so I don't get any grief whatsoever. Be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser channel tonight, 7 PM UK time, 1 PM Central Standard Time, where Brenda gets a... What does she get? A prize?
Prize.
Nobel Prize.
For Daft Muppet of the Year. There is no prize for this.
Excellent plug. Be here or be sphere. Quantum Eraser, 7 PM UK, 1 PM Central Standard. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Not from Georgia.
Are we allowed to cite evidence for non-curvature? Is this a good point to bring in a non-curvature evidence?
If I said any evidence of unicorns, and you said, if I give you evidence that there's no unicorns, will that count as evidence of unicorns? What do you think would the reply?
Well, the ballers claim that when you have gas pressure, we're breathing it. That means that we've got an open system, apparently. So why can't I present evidence of non-curve when you're asking for curve?
Well, that's just incorrect. The gas pressure proves that we have some form of containment holding the gas pressure here. What it is, I don't know and don't assert. Why would I need to? It's natural law.
No, but Nathan, we have an open system and you can walk outside and you can see the gas pressure. You breathe it, right? We have an open system.
Yeah, say it again. That's just wrong. We don't have an open system because if we did and the sky was a vacuum, entropy would increase and the gas would fill the available volume. The
But
fact
Nathan, that's our model and it works.
That's your model. That's a reification fallacy. So it's special pleading based on a model that you have a religious belief about. Not you, they. So they have a religious belief.
I believe it.
You believe it.
I believe it and it works, therefore you're wrong.
Hallelujah. I don't care what you believe. It's a violation of a natural law. You can't have a sky vacuum.
It's a violation of natural law and 3 logical fallacies. Special pleading, begging the question, reification, and the second law of thermodynamics violation.
So I guess I'll have to wait then.
Wait for what?
To present my evidence of flatness. I mean, it's a flat earth debate, isn't it?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You said you wanted to present evidence of non-curve and then started talking about gas pressure. Even though you're on my side, I still keep track of the nonsense. Hey, Arwin.
Hello. Good afternoon.
I guess I'm trying to rump us in an indirect kind of friendly kind of way.
Fair enough. Good show, Arwin. I actually got to tune in.
Thanks.
today.
Political.
Did you like it?
I did. Hey, and kudos to you, Adam, for making Arwin's show look so spectacularly professional. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
I Hello, Adam.
What's up, Adam?
Thanks, man.
Let me give a
Thanks
proper
again.
plug.
Hello.
Hold on, one sec. Sorry,
Adam!
good to have you. Just let me do a proper plug. So, ARWIJN is Arwin's channel. He consistently runs at 1 p.m. UK time. So, tune in, be here or be sphere on Arwin's channel for the early bird channel. Thank God you run it so consistently. My watch stopped and I lost an hour. And I was like, bloody hell, Arwin's running early. And then I suddenly appreciated that I'd lost an hour on my watch. So I gave you a plug on the pre-show and I'll give it you now, Arwin. Because you're so consistent. You run that show day in, day out, consistently, but it's just upped its game, so that's why I'm plugging it now. Thanks to the Adam Meakin, who gave him a crash course in OBS and polished up his show. He's also just had a camera, courtesy of Ranty. So Arwin's channel's going places. Subscribe today, Arwin.
Hey Nathan, while we're doing that, then Arwin, I've got this. I've won. I've been to the auctions today, and I was bidding on a set of glasses for my brother-in-law. Don't tell him, it's with Christmas. But with it came this. Look, let me put my camera on, and I wondered if you wanted it. The little desktop tripod, little hanging weight, aluminium frame.
Huh.
Probably might be quite useful for your camera. You see it on your desk, for your stellar shots and the likes.
Okay.
Oh, Stella, yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Don't sound too excited, Arwin, for a freebie.
That's-
It was a freebie to me.
I'll have it if he doesn't want it.
I was going to say I'll have it if he doesn't.
Oh,
that looks great. I'll have it. Yes, please.
Look,
Going once.
hey, Adam. Now, look. Seriously, if Sleeping
I'll
Warrior
take it. I don't
wants
even
it,
have a camera.
if Sleeping Warrior wants it, then absolutely give it to him because I just got this new fantastic tripod. So
You got one?
technically, I
Oh, fair
wouldn't
enough.
really need it.
What's called on?
Meekin,
If-
I'll have it.
Yeah, give it to Riley.
Sold to Riley.
Sold? It was a
No, sold for one flat Herford. That'll do you.
Hey, Adam, I want the tailor-made golf hat, please.
Oh yeah, it's an old one, that isn't it? Not the tight list. You don't want the tight list. That's
No,
hot
I'll
from
take the
Portugal, that one.
No, I have a tie list already. Give that one to Anthony.
You got a
Mickey.
Titleist?
Meekin, what's the connection on it? Is it a screw thread that's on an adapter plate, or is it something else?
What about the tripod?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little. It's like a little desktop one. It comes in a little. It just pops up, look. But it's handy for.
I know, but you're obfuscating my question. This is like what a
I
ball.
didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. That's standard ball of tactics, isn't it? Don't understand, obfuscate.
Adam, you got to tell him, but you don't understand. So I can't tell you.
Oh, it connects. I don't want to know anything else.
You just don't understand how it folds up, Riley. That's your fault.
Well, this is lovely. This is turning into what camera, right? So let's just carry on with housekeeping. They might get some tripod-related action in terms of answers for questions. So, any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? Open to Discord as well, by the way.
If you put this on the Earth, the axis will rotate. It will rotate on its axis.
What you're saying is, if
I don't
I
think,
bet,
I don't think he got the message, man.
no, that's hold on. It's just, I don't care if it's sarcastic. So all he's done is he said if he places it on a presupposed to be sphere Earth that's spinning, it's spinning. Is that what your claim was, Adam?
Yeah. Then yeah. No.
Okay, let's just add it and see if there's anyone in Discord that wants to give an actual reply. So, any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety that don't involve presupposing Earth is spinning?
Non-Walla Walla, Washington.
Didn't Foucault's pendulum do that?
Go ahead, tell us all about it. It's Cirrus?
Oh, yeah, what's going on, man?
Tell us all about it.
I don't think you're coming through. There must be flipping or something in between, man.
No, I hear you. You said pendulums.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, Foucault's pendulum, right? I mean, I heard the Globies say that, they say that's proof of axial rotation, right? Of whatever 15 degrees per hour or whatever it is. Is it? I'm not sure.
So, yeah, this is the assertion that got me onto Globebusters and lost me a huge amount of subscribers. Hooray! So, if it's asserted that a gyroscope or pendulum has an Earth turning underneath it in a separate reference frame at 15 degrees an hour, then you have a demonstration of what's called the Coriolis effect. So the pendulum, in this example, is swinging back and forth, straight, in a straight line. The pendulum doesn't actually move around to knock over the dominoes in your shopping mall. It just moves straight. But it's claimed the Earth rotates underneath the straight movement of the pendulum at 15 degrees an hour. If that's true, then Earth rotates underneath helicopters, gyroscopes and pendulums, footballs, drones, and aeroplanes. And if it's rotating underneath an aeroplane, then a journey from, say, Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would take 1.5 hours because Earth rotates underneath, as opposed to the reality of 4 to 4.5 hour duration because Earth does not rotate underneath. So if you are to accept that the pendulum demonstrates Earth rotating underneath the fixed frame of reference of the pendulum, then it must also rotate underneath anything that leaves the non-inertial spinning reference frame of a claim to be spinning Earth, including drones, planes, helicopters, balls, bullets, you if you jump up and down, but that does not happen. We don't get reduced flight times, we don't see drones deviating, helicopters can hover, etc., etc.
Right.
Nathan, wait a minute. You don't understand reference frames and things don't leave reference frames. Come on. Sorry.
No. I'd like to see an actual
Hold on, Arwin.
presupposed
Hold on.
Coriolis
Paul,
gradient
Arwin,
as
please.
to how much of the Coriolis effect is supposedly established at what height. So they can just put down exactly how much of this deviation is supposed to be where. So what is the Coriolis gradient that the
15,
ballers
it's
accept?
told us, the guy's told us 15 degrees an hour.
No, I mean as to where the Coriolis effect is, where the things are still supposedly lockstep, where there's no Coriolis, and how much a Coriolis starts to appear at what height.
Yeah,
that's the Coriolis.
No. You don't need reference to Earth to describe the answer to that question, Arwin. So the Coriolis effect is a deviation caused by an object leaving a non-inertial spinning reference frame and entering an inertial reference frame while you, the observer, stay on the spinning roundabout or claim to be spinning Earth. If there is a Coriolis deviation, when a projectile or anything that leaves the non-inertial spinning reference frame leaves the non-inertial spinning reference frame, you, the observer, on the non-inertial reference frame, observe deviation. That's Coriolis effect. If there's claimed to be a Coriolis effect on Earth, then, by the definition of Coriolis, something leaves a claim to be spinning Earth, and you observe it deviating. Not because it actually deviates, but because it moves in a straight line and you rotate underneath according to the claim of a spinning ball Earth that demonstrates Coriolis deviation. The problem is, we don't observe that.
No, of course we don't. But I'd still like to understand what they claim in their model. They gotta have their mindset straight about this.
Forget their model. It's Coriolis.
They're not going to forget their model.
I've tried to stop Paul. I'm going to have to close the line. I've tried to stop Paul. I've tried to stop Arwin, and now I'm trying to fight with 10th Man. I just want to find out with the guy who put the claim forward whether or not he's satisfied with the reply. Go ahead. How do you say your name? Is it Syrix?
I don't believe that. I just wanted to, maybe you know a little bit better about it. I know Chocolate doesn't know anything about Coriolis, but perhaps, so isn't the pendulum grounded to the Earth via like the string that's connected in the ceiling and that's connected to the Earth? So it never actually, like, how would it display Coriolis is what I truly don't understand, because like, okay, airplanes, projectiles, stuff like that is no longer grounded, so to speak. So why would the pendulum display that? So, I mean, it would rotate with the Earth, you know, with the building and with the string and all that stuff.
Well, while that might be the case, it's irrelevant to their claim. Their claim is, Yes, you can argue all day about whether or not you've released the pendulum in a certain way to make it move and not move in a straight line, but that's regardless of the claim. The reference frame that is created by a pendulum, i.e. moving in a straight line, is, according to them, demonstrating a 15-degree deviation of the Earth rotating underneath. To question whether or not they've released it in a certain way is to just work within their parameters of automatically begging the question on their behalf. Their claim is that Earth rotated underneath that straight swing, the reference frame of the straight line the pendulum takes, and Earth rotates underneath that straight line, the inertial reference frame that the pendulum's travelling through, back and forth in a straight line. That's their claim, regardless of whether or not they've fudged the pendulum to actually spin around and knock the dominoes over. That's not important. The important part is they're claiming Earth rotates underneath that pendulum, and if it does, it also rotates underneath anything that's not attached to the spinning non-inertial reference frame of a claim to be spinning Earth. Now, the fact that it's hung on the spinning reference frame, you could argue, but it doesn't change their claim.
Right.
But Nathan, you just don't understand. Things don't leave reference frames, and you just don't understand reference frames, Nathan. Come on.
Things do and can leave reference frames. If I push the upstick on a drone, it leaves a spinning roundabout and then just hovers above it. It was on a spinning reference frame, then it's in the inertial reference frame. It has traversed reference frames, if you want to describe it that way, and I do, and I will, and it is correct. The observation of Coriolis deviation takes place from the non-inertial reference frame, which you will not leave. You, the individual who is viewing this not actual deviation, will not move reference frame, but the ball can, when you throw it, leave a non-inertial spinning reference frame and enter an inertial reference frame to travel straight through. It has moved reference frames. When you say you, I also made that mistake in my terminology previously. I say you, meaning a projectile. You leave the non-inertial spinning reference frame, referring to a ball leaving. Well, that'll just be altered in my vernacular from here on in. You will observe Coriolis deviation without changing reference frame. The ball or drone, as I push up, if it's on the roundabout, when it traverses these reference frame, absolutely can. But if you're to refer to you in the drone or in a helicopter moving off a roundabout, then you're not going to be experiencing Coriolis deviation by changing or traversing reference frames. It's observed from the spinning reference frame. Or to put it another way, the only observation of Coriolis if Earth was spinning would be you standing on the rotating frame, watching a plane look like it's taking a curved path. The plane's not having to worry about Coriolis in the slightest. It would arrive an hour and a half earlier if travelling west on pretty much the same latitude line if Earth was spinning. It doesn't because Earth isn't. It doesn't change the fact that your claim that you don't change reference frames, well, no, you don't if you're observing this deviation. But the projectile absolutely can, will, and does, unless you start the example with a hovering drone already in the inertial reference frame.
Beautifully articulated.
Yeah, but why do you think something that's spinning so slow would take so much time off a flight?
I told you this yesterday.
It's not spinning slow. You're getting confused between angular velocity and tangential speed. You're a clown.
It's a red herring. I addressed this for you yesterday. Said it's the quantity as opposed to the quality that you're describing. And all we want is the quantitative effect as opposed to the qualitative effect as opposed to how much of it.
You think 1,000 miles an hour is slow? Huh. Are you on the floor I drip?
So you're telling me this is spinning at 1,000?
You might get getting problem. Issues. Slipping out, Highlander.
He forgot to say I didn't understand first.
You want to try again, Highlander?
Oh.
Hold on, everyone else. Was that conflation of angular velocity versus tangential speed the end of your claim, or was there more?
No, I was just wanting to know if he
Either you're talking too quietly and it's cutting your own mic, or you've got connection problems, one or the other, because we're losing half of what you're saying.
I think I've got connection problems.
Maybe drop and come back. Feel free to interrupt and get your point across if we hasn't already been conveyed and rebutted. Hello, whoever just joined. Just joined.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hello. Oh, it's Flatzoid. Welcome back.
It might be a good idea.
Good delivery.
Just before you go, Paul, you can go next. I just want to reiterate what quantum eraser's rebuttal was, just in case it does come resurfacing. So, the tangential velocity versus the angular speed is what we're arguing about here. Claimed to be slow is saying that if you've got a clock, then the movement of the hands is very slow. Well, if you extend the hands of that clock and make them miles and miles long and stand on the end of one of those arms of the clock, then it's going to be going very, very fast. The rim speed, the edge velocity, how fast it's actually moving versus how many angles it traverses throughout a given period. The two things are used or conflated together to make it sound like Earth is travelling slow. 15 degrees an hour is not very fast. Oh right, well at the equator claimed to be an edge velocity of 1,000 miles an hour. Very fast. That's just a conflation that the globe has used to make it seem like it's not anything to be concerned with, that you're apparently travelling at 1,000 miles an hour on a spinning ball, flying through a vacuum and violating several natural laws. Nothing to see here. That's all that is.
You don't calculate speed in rotations. You got the units of measure all convoluted. It's a clown show. They're just repeating this stuff over and over and over again. This is 2015 argument.
Again,
can I jump in there?
You can, but I just want to concisely summarise that. So RPM versus MPH. Revolutions per minute versus miles per hour. Revolutions might sound slow, but the mile per hour will definitely be quick. Go ahead, whoever you were. Sorry to cut you off.
So it's Captain Phobos here.
Hey, Captain Phobos, go ahead.
Yeah, so interesting discussion. So looking at the whole idea of reference frame and in terms of speed. So if I was sitting in a vehicle doing 30 mile an hour, okay, it's closed, no air coming in, and I was sitting, let's say, in an aeroplane doing 300 miles, depending on the speed, both of them closed, no air coming in or out. I've accelerated, I'm going at a constant speed. Is there going to be any difference?
Difference to what? Shout out to David Rackier Gafford.
What I feel. To the experience that I have. If it's a sealed box, 30 mile an hour in one,
you don't have this isn't a question.
Am I going to notice any difference?
Hey, what is your point though? What is it that you're trying to make as a point in this regard, or is it just a random question for me? Do I feel more acceleration on a plane than in a car? Yes, I do.
No, it's not about the acceleration. It's about the feeling, inertia.
What's this got to do with anything?
Well, you're talking about speed, aren't you? And saying it makes a difference.
Tangential velocity versus revolutions per minute in terms of how it's describing the speed.
I'm just talking about speed. You keep going on about speed.
Yeah. And what's the point that you're trying to make?
So if I'm going at 30 mile an hour, or if I'm going at 300 mile an hour, it doesn't make any difference.
And what's your point? It does, but what's your point?
How does it make any difference if I'm in a closed? I can't feel the wind.
So what? What's your point?
What the hell is the question? What are you
asking? The question is, what difference does it make whether we're going 1,000?
Because
1,000 miles per hour in the Earth.
He's again, shut up. He's conflating RPMs versus miles per hour. What is your example?
Does it make any difference whether I'm going 30 mile per hour or 300
Oh my
mile
God.
Let's
go back to eating crayons.
Captain Phobos, can I try once more? The example given in the argument that's just passed was a conflation between two different measurements. One measuring the rotation, one measuring the speed. And they're two different things. The point being that one is used to make it seem slow, 15 degrees an hour sounds slow, whereas 1,000 miles per hour seems fast. These are two different terminologies, as opposed to your example where you're saying 30 miles an hour, that's just miles per hour, versus 500 miles per hour, again miles per hour, when we're contrasting revolutions with miles per hour.
Yeah, but what is your point? You're not making any point.
Yeah, I am. The point that was made by Highlander was being rebutted. He's saying it's not very fast. It's only 15
So I've
degrees an
just
hour.
joined in here. I don't know
And
what's
you're
being-
talking through me.
You're talking
It
about
seems
miles per
that
hour.
my pointing out the point that you've said he hasn't made. What's your problem? I was in the middle of explaining to you something that you say hasn't been made. It's not a point being made by QE. It was a rebuttal to Highlander's claim that it's not a very fast speed. Now you keep saying what's the
It
difference
isn't
between...
very fast. If
And
you're
I
in an
still
inertial
haven't
frame-
finished. Seems you seem very triggered by this. We're detailing a
So I'm
conflation.
having to shout because my mic is cutting out. I'm not at all triggered. I'm just having to get it to activate.
You don't need to when I'm in the middle of a sentence explaining that it's a conflation between revolutions and miles per hour, not a conflation between different speeds, which is what you're presenting us. His point being that when it's described as being slow using revolutions, it's actually a false description because it's described in miles per hour. Edge velocity.
I still don't understand. You're not making any sense. What
That
difference
means
does it make?
so your ignorance isn't my concern. You not understanding the point doesn't mean I haven't made one, and it doesn't mean that Highlander's point hasn't been rebutted. It has. The fact you can't follow along does not concern me.
Dude, I'm not going to be shouted at. Goodbye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Don't let the door hit you on the
Take
way
care
out.
now.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Crayon Muncher. You didn't understand the point being made. What, you think by running away that somehow makes you seem like a martyr? No, Dumbo, you just didn't understand the rebuttal. RPM versus MPH. You giving us two different MPH values just means you didn't understand the point. So run away, idiot. Good job. Why are you still here? Thought you weren't going to be shouted at. Go away! Still seem to be here, Captain Phobos. Your declaration that you won't be shouted at was false. Did you just lie? I'm shouting at you. You said you weren't going to be shouted at. I'm now shouting at you, and you are still here, idiot.
So now he's a liar.
Yeah, liar and an idiot.
Let's not forget that the tangential speed is also an acceleration. You should certainly feel an acceleration.
Shout out to Ute. Says we don't talk about this enough. The changing in directions and the accelerations that would be attributed to that and how much we would feel them is something that's a bit of a bugbear of Ute. And I agree. If you see the corkscrewing, spiralling, pictorial representation of the heliocentric model, it's an absolute farce. You'd absolutely feel those changes in direction.
It's definitely changing vectors.
But it's just so slight, Nathan. Come on, Nathan. It's just so slight. Your body would become adjusted to that constant slight motion. Come on, don't you know this? Come on.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
if I'm on a waltzer for long enough, eventually I just don't even notice.
Hey, Nathan, you got rumpus when you're shouting out Dave Rakia. Did he super chat? Is he on mute? But you got rumpus when you were doing it.
I deliberately just gave him a quick shout out. I was going to return to David Rakia Gafford's super chat and shout it out. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Shout out to David Rakia Gafford. Debate is over. Flat, non-rotating. It's in that book also. What book also? Bible. Rakia Life. I'm on moot. Thanks for the super chat, David Rakia Gafford.
So, moving on.
Moving on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Yeah, no.
Not in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Not in Tuco, Tobago.
Come on, ballers. Now's your chance.
Not having
mass attraction now.
Where at, Adam? Well, where at, Adam?
What was that, Chocolate?
Where's Adam today?
Not here, mate.
Not here. Get stuffed.
Adam's too nice to tell to get stuffed. It's almost cruel.
It makes me feel warm inside when he says it.
Oh, fair enough.
It's
like a warm blanket.
It's a term of endearment.
Oh, God, there was another super chatter. Colin Turner. Shout out to Colin Turner. He says, long time no super chat. Well, thank you very much for the super chat, Dr. Colin Turner. Sorry I didn't see you. So, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No. Nope.
Not in Kananga, Zaire.
What?
Hey, tough man, look what you started, man.
Well, not from Bowling Green.
Not from Zimbabwe. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Only a sucker would believe that.
No, not even if you let me presuppose all of the other nonsense. I can't find you a molten core.
No, I can think for myself to know it's not real.
What about the presupposition itself? R value? Any evidence of that? Radius of Earth?
Not in Lodi, California.
Not in South Africa.
Value.
Not in Paris,
that was
France?
verified by Eratosthenes, I believe.
Eratosthenes. Who said that?
I did.
Cool. Let's hear all about it.
Sorry. Yeah, Eratosthenes is the guy that measured the curvature of the Earth, or the radius, right?
Really? How did he do that?
The radius.
What is it today? Sticks
I
or
think he was
wells?
digging wells. He dug a couple of wells and right.
Couple of wells and stuck sticks in them.
A well in the stick, is it?
Okay, we'll brush past that little inconsistency in the narrative. So, how did you do it? I don't care which, wells or sticks. You tell me.
I've got no idea, man.
Okay, no, he didn't. He presupposed that Earth was a sphere.
Right. Yeah, he did that. Because I mean, it's obvious, and everything else is a sphere, so you must be a sphere too.
It's not a
really.
It's not a very well formed argument.
Everything else is a sphere. That's a bit of a
the
claim.
globe argument.
I'll summarize that. So, Jeranism, shout out to Jeranism, who was the first to make this example in the way that I'm about to make it. If you're standing on a pool table, yeah, or you're underneath a glass pool table, that's better, sorry, and you're looking up at the bottom of this glass pool table, and everything on the pool table is a spherical ball, does that mean that you're standing on a spherical ball also? No. Likewise, shout out to David.
Yeah, it must be, right?
Well, one more. So shout out to DITRH. If you're walking through the forest and everything around you is trees, it's just trees. You look up, there's trees everywhere. Trees. Does that make you a tree?
You got to recuse yourself from that.
It could be. I'm also made out of carbon, so yeah, maybe part tree. Why
What
not?
if I want to identify as a tree that day?
Hold on, we've got to. Somebody's using. Is it the taxonomic classification system to argue this? So we are trees, are we? We've got DNA of trees in us now. Like I'm a banana, also in that classification system.
Chocolate, saying which branch of
essentially,
science?
we all came from the
Evolution.
You're a happy
From the
tomato.
same rock, yeah.
I'm a happy tomato too. Well, I'm at least 56.4% happy tomato. 4% banana.
I've just got a couple of, because I think Eratosthenes' experiment is outstanding. Because to go back to antiquity, I've always wondered. I assume they didn't have like ballooner lights back then. So how did they know the straight line distance between Alexandria and Syracuse? That would have been quite a difficult thing to measure accurate.
Can I add another one as well, please?
And
this?
then
It's always
the other
worried me
more
is
important point of that is How the hell, if they were trying to ascertain, how did they know when they're in Syracuse that it was midday in Alexandria? Because you would only be able to extrapolate that data after the fact. You couldn't say it's midday in Alexandria, now I'll look at the sun, because you'd need to know where the sun is to tell you what time it is in Alexandria. So you need to presuppose everything was a all and it all worked to be able to go to Syracuse to look at the sun and say it's midday in Alexandria and this is the angle of the sun now.
You got the answer. You were at the Amsterdam show, right? You saw Dr. Zach.
Well, Zach raises that point because he just pulls out the Eratosthenes cell phone.
That's
right. Well, maybe they just had the ether
You literally-
communication back then.
Literally just stole my joke. I was going to say, Adam, they had cell phones. Didn't
Right.
you know?
Well, maybe
Even though
that
you were
was
gonna
a
say that.
dual purpose for the sticks in the ground. Maybe they were actually staffs and they had a transmitter through which they can communicate. It's just Antiquitech.
Yeah, Antiquitech. Exactly. It's the Eratosthenes cell network. So go ahead, Bev. Did you want to add something?
No, that was exactly my point. And how would they know what time it is 500 miles away back then?
Well, they use the sun and the wells. Isn't it obvious?
I always imagine they were shouting each other. Now!
Yeah, this is problematic. The thing is, it doesn't prove spherical radius. That was not assumed by Eratosthenes.
And it wasn't an experiment,
if I may.
Yeah, Adam.
I did that on purpose. I was surprised it wasn't picked up straight away.
Oh, it was picked up all right. Don't worry about that.
Did you know where
I heard that.
You know where the presupposition came from? So it's come up on the show already, so don't mind leading somebody in this regard. Kosho is actually here at the moment, was the first to bring it up by way of his own volition. But do you know where the presupposition of the spherical R value came from, as opposed to measuring it with the presupposition that Earth's a sphere? Do you know who actually presupposed it?
I
Aristarchus.
think Aristarchus.
Correct.
Aristarchus?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that how you say it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Shout out to Peachy. Shout out Retracted.
Shout out Double Retracted.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon? The V in gas law?
Impossible.
I watched the lady last night talking about space, and she said, "Oh, because we have a magnetic field, that keeps our atmosphere here." I almost fell.
I thought it was
dropped my drink and all that.
I thought it was the gravity. Like the gravity acts like a container, or at least I
that's
think
what I
Zanuck
thought, but
uses that,
apparently-
right?
Yeah, apparently there's stories all over the place. Some people
Okay.
think it's magnetic
Well,
field.
similar, yeah.
Some people think it's a force. It's not really a force. You know, some people
You can
think
think
the
of it
gas
as a
is
force field,
containing
bro.
it. The gas is containing itself. Like, I don't know, man. This is crazy.
I don't know how many times I've got to say it. The bending of a conceptual medium known as space-time giving rise to a non-force, force that you can think of as a force but's not actually a force called gravity, will not contain gas. Bending concepts don't defy gas law.
But a continuum transfunctioner can.
Are you talking about the Q-36 explosive space modulator?
No. No. Continuum what? Transfunctioner?
It's the Illudium
Also-
Q-36 explosive space modulator, to be specific.
Yeah, I thought you might have had something off there.
You make me so angry.
Get stopped.
I was hoping Kosha would come online and like in voice and like explain the pendulum to me.
I think he swings back and forth with that argument.
I mean, he replicated
Man,
the pendulum thing himself.
Oh, Jesus. So, yeah, there is a new argument that, well, I shouldn't say new, but I was passed a video told that now the Moors are trying to say that you only need one reference frame for Coriolis to occur. And what the guy sent me was a video of basically a spinning room and showing the Coriolis effect in this room. Now, one of the guys in the video, he says something like, "Oh, I thought this would never work because it's one frame of in my head, it's one frame of reference, right?" And then they proceed to throw the ball and it curves away and all that. But now apparently the ballers are using this as some type of, oh, you only need one reference frame to have Coriolis. And all they did was basically spin a room up.
Then you
So I guess
can't
they're trying
display Coriolis then, right? I mean, something has to deflect in order for you to have Coriolis, to my simple understanding. Isn't right?
It's an apparent deflection because you're spinning underneath it.
Yeah, you have to observe something seeming to deviate because you're on a non-inertial reference frame. So you could almost argue on their behalf that they're saying, well, you only need to be a part of or on a rotating platform, i.e. your reference frame is the non-inertial spinning reference frame. You only need yourself to be a part of that single reference frame. But obviously to have Coriolis deviation, you've got to have a projectile or something that's no longer attached to the non-inertial spinning reference frame, i.e. that is classified thereafter as the inertial reference frame that you'll be observing. Now, in most examples, you have something like a pendulum or a ball that's travelling in a straight line. I prefer to example it with a hovering drone because that's far more simplistic. You don't have to worry about its movement. It's hovering, right? Well, if it's hovering above a roundabout and you're spinning below it, the drone seems to come towards you and seems to fly away. But it's hovering, it's not moving. Well, that seeming to come towards you and seeming to go away takes place by your perception on one reference frame, the spinning frame. But you've obviously got to have something that's not on that spinning reference frame in order to observe any not actual deviation. Not actual because the drone is hovering. It just seems to fly towards you when in reality you're spinning underneath. Now, if that example of Coriolis effect was translated onto a spinning Earth, it'd be no different. A drone takes off and leaves the non-inertial claim to be spinning ball Earth and deviates away from you while it's hovering? So you push your up stick and then let go and it stays in relatively the same position. It's not moving left, right or anything else because you've let go of the stick. The drone isn't being controlled, it's just hovering. But according to the rhetoric of a ball Earth that spins, you move away from it on a spinning Earth and you see it seem to fly away from you. No, you don't. That does not happen because we don't have two reference frames. Earth's not spinning. It's just that simple.
Right, and I think the goal of the video was to show, or at least the way the ballers are using it, is to show that you can you can only have one reference frame in a closed system. Because I think
wait a second. In the video, I didn't see the video yet. Was the room spinning and did they throw a ball?
Yes.
Well, the air in that room isn't spinning with the room. It's the inertial reference frame, you dumbasses.
Exactly. And they're trying to pass it off to, I guess, some of the newer guys debating this that don't understand the arguments enough. They're trying to pass this off as just one reference frame for Coriolis. When literally in their wiki it says they need two reference frames for this nonsense. So it's just a fail all around.
Couple of shout outs. So shout out to Awaken Narrative for the super chat. Thank you very much for your support. FE Debate smashing the ball since inception. Boom. Thanks very much for the super chat. Awaken Narrative. Also shout out to Unicorn Laser Eyes for the super chat. Thank you very much again for your support. Shout out 24/7 Discord 2.0. Check it out. Thank you very much indeed for your support, Unicorn Laser Eyes.
Shout out to Jose Mesa over there at 24/7.
Do we have a baller who could critically think and come on the show? Or are they all
No.
zombies?
No. Duh.
Oxymoron.
Kosho put in the Discord, because he doesn't want to come in and tell you himself, but that he thinks the spinning room is 2 reference frames, not 1.
Oh.
That's nice.
So again, they're battling each other and still don't understand their own arguments. That's adorable.
Is it a closed room? Shouldn't the atmosphere be travelling around in a circle like they say the Earth does?
Yeah. I think the room was only spinning at like 6 miles an hour, something like that, from what I remember.
Shouldn't the air, this inhomogeneous anisotropic mixture of gases that's not connected to anything by definition, shouldn't that be moving in sync with the room that's spinning though? Isn't that what they claim? Lockstep atmosphere, even though it's got wind moving in all directions. Shouldn't the air just be spinning with the spinning room?
No, that's gas.
Yeah.
Gas doesn't operate that way.
No, it
Expands
doesn't,
in all
does it?
directions.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But
So we
I
should
think
have a
it's
Coriolis
also
effect then.
subjected
So-
to momentum, though. That's how weather, pressure, air pressure works, and all that.
Yeah, the multiple
You're talking
directions.
about a dynamic system.
Go on, Tenth.
I still haven't gotten any answer to my question about the Coriolis gradient. Like, where do they presuppose the supposed Coriolis effect starts to affect things?
They don't
if
even
they
know what
do, and if they
Coriolis
do
is.
claim that, that means that's going to be set.
Okay,
From
I'll
that
answer you.
point on,
Fine.
at that point, there
I'll
should
answer
be
you.
that effect. If there
I'll
isn't,
answer you then.
it's all nonsense.
I'll answer you. According to heliocentric priest Neil deGrasse Tyson, at the point, like with any example of Coriolis deviation, that the ball in his example left the non-inertial spinning reference frame and was kicked towards the goal, it started to exhibit a Coriolis deviation. That would be a deviation that you would observe from the stand whilst watching the ball actually travel in a straight line, but seeming to curve because you are rotating underneath the ball, which left the non-inertial claimed to be spinning reference frame of a ball Earth in a vacuum. So according to heliocentric priest Neil deGrasse Tyson, to answer your question, it's upon leaving the non-inertial claimed to be spinning reference frame, like with any example of Coriolis deviation. The only problem being if you have Coriolis deviation in his example of a football being kicked and leaving a claimed to be spinning Earth, curving from your perception on the stand to go through the goal because the Earth rotated underneath, then the Earth would also rotate underneath aeroplanes, drones, bullets, or anything that left the non-inertial claim to be spinning reference frame of a ball Earth. The problem being that things with a prolonged hang time like drones, helicopters and aeroplanes do not demonstrate any claim to be deviation that you would observe from the stand or anywhere else. We don't see drones drifting away from us because we're spinning beneath them. We don't have aircraft taking 1.5 hours in their flight time from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA because Earth rotated underneath to give them this claimed deviation that you would observe from the ground. It simply does not happen.
All right. But to be fair, though, I don't think that Neil deGrasse Tyson is generally accepted as a legitimate arbiter of these kind of details. It's obvious that he totally doubled down on the Coriolis effect up until ground level, pretty much. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson's angle to it. But I'm asking, okay, what really is the general contested belief among everyone, not just a few individuals that have speaking points about it? Do they think there is a Coriolis gradient, or like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, it's everywhere?
I understand. There's a distinction. There's a distinction between the argument we have here in the trenches, where they assert that we aren't supposed to be seeing the proof of Earth's spin that is Coriolis deviation observed as you rotate underneath a projectile that's left the non-inertial spinning claim to be reference frame of an Earth that's in space spinning around. Even though they, in the trenches, claim that we should not see deviation as a justification for why planes don't take 1.5 hours when travelling from Charlotte to LA, that doesn't change the actual rhetoric, which is delivered concisely, albeit false and demonstrating that we should have these reduced flight times by way of Coriolis deviation examples given by footballs. The correct rhetoric is that of Coriolis deviation. His example that he's claiming applies to a spinning ball Earth is false, but his example, if true, would be correct, a la the Coriolis deviation as it works in reality, easily demonstrated with a roundabout and a drone or a ball that you throw from the spinning reference frame. His example is correct, other than the fact that his example, if true to Earth as a reference frame that's claimed to be spinning, would necessitate other things deviating that do not. So his rhetoric is correct, his claim is incorrect. The ball did not deviate because Earth rotated underneath. If it did, you would see the same effect in drones, helicopters and aeroplanes, but we don't, even though his claim is analogous to a claim of Coriolis if Earth was spinning, even though it isn't.
I understand, but I'm still asking, does actually everyone abide to that official narrative diktat?
No, because we don't see any... We don't see the deviation that's claimed to be there and would be there if Earth was spinning, so the people in the trenches absolutely argue against Coriolis, Arwin, as you well know.
Exactly. But if nobody in the trenches actually believes Neil deGrasse Tyson's story, then it's really a story that's completely moot.
No, we only use him as a hostile source to example what should happen if you have Earth-based Coriolis effect. In other words, Neil deGrasse Tyson is describing what should happen if Earth rotates underneath that ball. It's skewed around the goal because it had the Earth rotating underneath. Oh, so if you kick a ball and it leaves the platform that's rotating, in this case claimed to be Earth rotating, you'll see the ball skew round and go through the goal, even though it's travelling straight. Right, well that would mean that planes have the same deviation if you're watching them from the ground, because Earth's rotating underneath them? Well, if Earth's rotating underneath them, you get there a damn sight quicker if travelling west, and you might never get there if you're travelling east, but that doesn't happen.
The new thing is Neil deGrasse smoking deGrasse. Hold on, Chocolate. The new thing is Neil smoking deGrasse Tyson was joking.
Oh, right. That's what they tend to do, isn't it?
Well, he does always kind of like fool around when he presents his thing, so
that's what astrophysicists are doing. They're just
that's
joking
exactly
with
right.
us now.
Well, that may be
exactly
also...
right. He is an astrophysicist. He is one of their pseudoscience priests. You're not throwing him under the bus, ballers. You have to come out and play. Hey.
I wouldn't call it a priest, though. I would call it a speaking point, because there is still division even among the baller priests themselves into how to approach it all.
Look, I don't want to get I don't want to get triggered here,
question.
but it
Hold
has
on,
to
Chocolate.
do with
Hold on, Chocolate. Go ahead, 10th man.
Before I get triggered here, I think the main point is Coriolis causes. What causes the Coriolis? And once you set that, everything they say falls apart. They are arguing within the begging the question fallacy, and they're trying to prove it because they're in the fallacy and they can't question the actual cause or causes that would make Coriolis a real thing. That's why it's an apparent deflection. These people are idiots.
Well, isn't it already begging the question? I mean, you would need the Earth to spin to see the Coriolis. So
Exactly.
if we're talking Coriolis and we haven't proven spin, we're already begging the question.
Exactly, that's 10th man's point. He's saying that you need to address the causes. Forget about this claim to be deviation that we see. In order to have this claimed deviation that we apparently see in footballs when kicked, you need the Earth to spin underneath. So first prove the Earth spins underneath. Don't give us these crappy short hang time examples that are defied by drones, helicopters and planes. Because first you've got to prove Earth spins underneath, and by way of Coriolis, it patently and obviously doesn't.
Any object that's in free flight would notice it if the Earth spun underneath it, but it doesn't.
Exactly.
It's right there. It's over. These people are dumb.
Yeah, my question that I keep asking a lot of these ballers, and they don't seem to want to answer, is because apparently they think in their narrative that hurricanes and storms like that are rotating because of this Coriolis.
Don't forget about the toilets.
which is yeah, they want to forget about the toilet. That's the funny thing. But yeah, they try to say that hurricanes and things like that are due to an apparent deviation. But the funny thing is, when they are pictured, they're always pictured from above, rotating, which, if they were caused by Coriolis, would they not appear to be going straight? But hurricanes are a real thing, so when they're actually rotating, they're actually rotating, actually deviating. So I'd like to know from some baller somewhere, why do hurricanes appear to rotate from above, which would be the inertial reference frame? Now, maybe Kosho can help me out here, because Kosho one time told me that hurricane winds are moving straight and only appear to look the way they do because of the spin of the Earth. So maybe if he wants to come off mute and let us know how that works, how hurricane winds are actually going straight, that would be awesome.
All you gotta do is listen to the. All you gotta do is listen to the weathermen when there's a hurricane next time. Oh, the hurricane changed course. It's now moving.
Really, all you're gonna get is
The
some
hurricane
stuttering
changed
from
Coriolis,
Kosho.
guys.
Go on. Someone in Discord wanted to add something? All you're going to get is...
I just said that all you're gonna get is some stuttering from Kosho.
Yeah, well, that's what I got the first time when I asked the question, and that was his response, and I asked him to elaborate on it, and he would not. So I've asked Zanuck this question, I've asked a couple ballers, and I'd like to know, if hurricanes are caused by the Coriolis, why do they appear to be rotating from above, which would be the inertial reference frame? So maybe one day.
Can I clarify something about the Coriolis?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's still, to me, it doesn't make any
Hold on, Owen.
sense that
Someone's just asked for permission to... Go on.
Oh yeah, cool. So they say it's only if you're changing latitudes, right? If you're going north or south, then you'll get this deflection with the airplane. But if you're traveling east to west, because of the conservation of momentum, you will not display any Coriolis. But if you change latitudes because the ground speed is changing underneath you, then you'll have this apparent deflection. But hovering and stuff like that will not demonstrate this because you're conserving momentum.
Yeah, that's simply incorrect. So when they assert that it's about changing latitude lines, it means they don't understand what Coriolis effect is, because Coriolis deviation is observed from the non-inertial reference frame, and they're detailing an effect of something that's the projectile travelling through the inertial reference frame. So when they say that, it just demonstrates that they don't really understand what Coriolis effect actually is, because they're detailing something that's taking place in the inertial reference frame, when Coriolis deviation is observed from the non-inertial frame. So yeah, saying that it's about travelling over these different latitude lines and how much the plane seems to deviate. No, the plane's not deviating. That just means they don't understand what Coriolis effect actually is. It's just as simple as that. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in. Hopefully smash the super chat. Oh, there's another one that's just gone by. All Earth beliefs are based on wizardry. It's flat. Massive shout out to Awaken Narrative for all of the super chats. Really do appreciate all of your support, and everyone else who smashed the super chat for that matter. Thank you very much indeed for all of your support. Again, a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering Stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!